Cold weather, snow problem. So for those of you who don't know, I moved last June from Northern California to Detroit. And with that comes a lot of life changes, moving across country and whatnot. But also, I'm now living in a different climate. Generally speaking, California is known to have good weather, while Detroit is known to be more cold, at least during 5 months of the year where it can be considered cold. Now, what weather is good versus bad obviously depends on the person. Different people can tolerate different temperatures, and it really comes down to preference. So this is kind of the only study I could find on it in terms of like whether people like cold or hot, because I've seen definitely people have a preference towards both. But just reading what this says, it says in general 43% of people prefer cold weather over hot, but among those who haven't had chickenpox, 65% prefer cold weather. Chickenpox? Well, I guess that checks out because I do prefer cold weather and I have not had chickenpox. So correlated.org. Sure. No, but in actuality, I've heard plenty of people say they prefer cold over like really hot weather. And I also have heard the other extreme where people are actually frightened of the cold weather. So Detroit is not the coldest city in the US or the world. It is probably colder than most places in terms of like major cities, but it's not as cold as like Minneapolis in the US, which gets slightly colder, and Winnipeg in Canada, which is colder than Minneapolis. And then you think of like Yakutsk, I think maybe might be how you pronounce it, but a city in Russia, major city in Russia, where the average temperature in January is in the negative 30s. That's in both like Fahrenheit and Celsius because they overlap once you get there. That's insane compared to Detroit. The numbers in Detroit, the average temperatures are between 33 degrees Fahrenheit and 19 degrees Fahrenheit. That is about 0 Celsius to -7 in the coldest month, which is January. Now there's also, besides the temperatures, there's the snow. And yeah, Detroit gets some snow as well. Not the most, of course. Part of the reason I did want to move to Detroit was for the weather, because back in California, although it's not actually the stereotypical, oh yeah, the weather's always good there, at least it is always temperate in most places, like especially in Southern California. I'm from Northern California, and if you think like wherever you are in California, if you're gonna go to like the beach year round, that's just not how it is. Some spots it also gets very hot. Other places it can get really cold. You'll see definitely a lot of people putting on jackets throughout the year. It's not like everyone is like me who just wears, t-shirt, shorts the entire year round. Unless it's raining, then I'll wear a hood or, maybe a jacket with a hood and, just so I don't get wet. Now, that said, I think I can tolerate the cold better than most people, but also I was anxious going into Detroit because I just don't think I've ever felt below freezing temperatures for a sustained period of time. So I just didn't know what was going to happen. And even after I think it was like late October when it did start to get cold in that first week where a couple of days were really cold, that's probably the coldest I felt in my life. But that's, I think, more so just because it was hot before and then it cooled off really quickly. I just wasn't used to it because I was much colder there at the beginning before winter even started compared to in the middle of winter when it was actually cold. So like it was well below freezing and it just did not feel as cold because my body had adapted to it. And talking about wearing shorts and t-shirts, it's really the same situation. Like it will be 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 10 Celsius. For me, that's a comfortable temperature. That's on the lower end of where I'll be wearing a shirt, a t-shirt and shorts. But like people will ask me like, aren't you cold? Even here in Detroit. And I'm just like, no. And they'll ask like, where are your pants or whatever? And I'm just like, I don't want to be hot, I don't say that, but that's the idea. Like, I don't want to put on pants if it's a, comfortable temperature for me. But that's just me. And you look at my experience, it's kind of funny, maybe insane, you might call it. I didn't even use a heater the entire winter. Well, one, because the heater in my unit is broken, which I need to fix that. But also because even if it was fixed, like, I wouldn't use that on myself. Like, it definitely was cold enough to use a heater. But I was just comfortable with putting on either couple sweaters, depending on the temperature, maybe just one, maybe two, three just getting, all bundled up and cozy. And even when I went to sleep, I slept in the attic, which is not insulated in my house. And so it was even colder in the attic. So, just bundle up, get covered under the blankets. And I generally, there was a few nights where it was really cold. For the most part, I guess there's a reason humans wear clothes. And some of the activities that I would do in the snow, well, one of those things is shoveling snow. So if you've never done that before, yeah, I did that for the first time. Only a handful of times, though. It doesn't snow an immense amount in Detroit. Maybe some other places you would have to pull out that snow shovel a lot more often, maybe even, get some sort of machinery to help you with that. But you clear the sidewalks so that people can walk, and if you need to clear the driveway, you can do that as well. So I can see how people wouldn't like to shovel snow, but I'm glad I at least got to do it and try it out, and I don't really mind it, honestly. Some other things I did was run around in the snow, and not like, yay, snow, but more like, oh, I'm exercising and it just happens to be snowing. But no, that was pretty fun, honestly. Like riding my bike, I got a fat tire bike, just particularly to ride it in the snow, just trudging through the snow, and then also doing some exercise. And the other thing about it is there's not as many people outside, obviously, in the cold. People have the tendency to stay more inside during the colder temperatures. And for a lot of people, that's the joy of winter, just staying home and doing whatever inside and just being cozy and whatnot. For me, throwing the disc around and running around, doing the exercise. And then when it's not icy or snowy, go shooting some hoops, even if it is still cold. I pretty much did what I would have done if it wasn't snowing or cold. Sometimes I have the park to myself, and it's pretty cool. It's like I own the place, basically. And the last thing I'll say in terms of what I did is just admiring the scenery and just how the snow looks on all the roofs and the cars and the grass and all that. It's just really pretty, honestly. And especially in my area, where there's a lot of old brick houses, it looks even that much better. I would say overall, I enjoyed the snow. I enjoyed the cold. Not really any issues. The idea of having cold temperatures and hot temperatures and not just being temperate the whole year, that's something that is cool to me. Having rain and just all these different temperatures and forms of weather at any given time, honestly, because it can go, really hot one day to cold the next. And whether I like the snow and cold or not, just having that experience makes it positive, because at least I would learn something. But I would say I overall did enjoy it. I think some people who haven't experienced it won't try it, and I can understand that. But then there's other people who might be moving to somewhere that gets snow and whatnot, and they might be a little unsure about the situation and what they'll have to do. I would just say to that, whether you're coming for work or just because you like the city and the amenities or whatnot of wherever you're going, I would say just do your research on what you need to do in the snow, especially when it comes to transportation, cars, roads, parking, that sort of thing, and grab yourself a snow shovel and then try it out, because honestly, there's so much to do in the snow. Having those sort of activities, those winter activities that you don't get in other places closer to you, that could be a positive, but it's really all up to your preference. I just wanted to share my experience and just being a positive one where I didn't even use a heater, even though, it was below freezing for a lot of the time during winter. It's all to say that, it's not that bad, at least for me. And if you want to hear my perspective also on how it is living in Detroit and seeing some of the places I go, feel free to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can also find some videos of Detroit snow that I filmed if you want to check those out. And I would encourage you also to check out my other channel, which is where we talk about personal finance. We try to talk about credit, investing, real estate, buying in Detroit, which is what I did. It's all about trying to help people reach financial freedom over there. And so the final question is going to be, would I do it again? And the answer is yeah, absolutely, because I think I really like Detroit. I think it's an amazing city. There's plenty of other amazing cities that have snow, coldness at some points, and the fact that it really doesn't bother me, yeah, I'd be happy to do it again. I'll at least do it 2 more times here in Detroit, and then we'll see where I move from there. Maybe to another cold place, maybe not. Maybe I want to try out also and experience a hot, humid place. That's a decision for another time. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Peace out, my friends.